The sound was America, uniquely America. A sophisticated syncopation, a blending of instruments that could only come from one place. And to millions of American GIs stationed overseas during World War II, it was the sound of home. It was mom and apple pie. It was good friends and best girls, ice cream socials and saddle shoes. It was a timeless American sound, recreated for a nation at war by a trombone player from America's heartland. It was the music of Alton Glenn Miller. In the early 1940s, the Glenn Miller Band was as much a part of the American landscape as the Brooklyn Bridge and the Rocky Mountains. Americans heard his distinctive sounds in ballrooms, on countless hit records, and on coast-to-coast radio. But in September 1942, with millions of his fans now in uniform, Glenn Miller walked away from commercial success and into musical history. With the support of Air Force General Hap Arnold, he formed a new kind of military band, one designed to play his kind of music. And with 60 of America's top musicians, he built the biggest and best dance band in the land, the Glenn Miller Army Air Force Band. When he volunteered to serve, Glenn felt the folks back home would quickly forget. But he was wrong. The new Air Force band he formed was soon heard around the world. His audience was bigger than ever. In fact, the propaganda shows he broadcast to German troops turned the Miller Sound into a post-war American triumph in both halves of divided Germany. One of his most popular closing numbers from that series is next. It's the ACC Heritage of America Band Jazz Ensemble and the Anvil Chorus. More than anything else, the Miller sound was a ballad sound. 4 saxophones and a lead clarinet mixed well and blended to form a musical signature that even today, 50 years after he's gone, is still recognized by a new generation of American servicemen and women. In the ballad style that meant home to millions of GIs, here's Glenn Miller's At Last.
a dream to finally call my own. I found a thrill to press my cheek to, a thrill I've never known. You smiled and then the spell was cast. Now here we are in heaven, for you are mine at
The vocal quartet was as much a part of Miller's commercial success as was his reed section, and he carried the idea with him when he formed his Air Force band. As Mr. Miller, he'd hired the Modernaires. As Captain Miller, he enlisted the crew chiefs. The next tune, a crew chief showstopper from his armed forces radio days. What do you do in the infantry?
What do you do in the infantry? You march, you march, you march. What do you do when your pack has got your back as thick as starch?
This is a mechanized war, they say that saying is sure a bust.
'Cause all that you see in the infantry is one another's dust. What do you do in the infantry? You hike, you hike, you hike. What do you do in the infantry? You're left and right alike.
Everyone else can ride a jeep or fly up in the sky.
But there's nothing to ride in the infantry, you're just a tired guy. The hard way, sweat till you get there, the hard way. What do they say in the infantry? They squawk and squawk and squawk, all about miles and miles and miles that they have had to walk.
They marched across the ocean, and that's quite a trick to do.
But don't forget the Air Corps has done some marching too. What do you do in the ground crew? You're always fixing planes. Never a chance to sleep and dream of beautiful G.I. Janes.
You're patching a hole in the fuselage or loading the bomber sticks.
What do you do in the ground crew? You fix and fix and fix. What do you do in the Air Corps when the flak begins to scream? How can you talk with the bombardiers to steady on the beam?
How can you dig a foxhole or jump behind a tree?
Wouldn't you love to march away just like the infantry? The soft way, try to crash land, brother, the soft way. What do you do when your gas is gone and you're flying a thunderbolt? You hit the silk and say a prayer and land with an awful jolt.
You drop in a jungle and wrench your back, you're thinking of giving up.
Then what do you mumble crawling back? It's up, 2, 3, 4, up, 2, 3, 4,
One of Glenn's last hits before joining the Air Force was a novelty swing tune called I Got a Gal in Kalamazoo. Tenor saxman Tex Beneke was featured vocalist on that disc, and it was a tune that remained popular throughout the war years. Even the guys and gals from Sault Ste. Marie loved to hear about Kalamazoo.
D, E, F, G, H. I got a gal in Kalamazoo. I don't want to boast, but I know she's a toast of Kalamazoo. Years have gone by my house she grew. I liked her looks when I carried her books in Kalamazoo. Gonna send a wire, hopping on a flyer, leaving today. Am I dreaming? I can hear her screaming. I am Mr. Jackson, everything's okay. A-L-A-M-A-Z-O. Oh, what a gal, a real pipperoo. I'll make my bid for that freckle-faced kid I'm hurrying to. I'm going to Michigan to see the sweetest gal in Kalamazoo. Kalamazoo. K A L-A-M-A-Z-O-O-O. What a gal, a real pipperoo. We're going to Michigan to see the sweetest gal in Kalamazoo. Zoo, 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 zoo. Kalamazoo.
More than a first-rate musician, Glenn Miller was also a superb manager and leader. That's one reason for his band's remarkable success, and it's why so many of his top sidemen volunteered to stay on board when he joined the Air Force. In fact, the Miller Band that thousands flocked to see and hear in Europe was in many ways only a larger version of his peacetime band, and it carried with it many of the same tunes, like this next one. It's one of the most popular vocal quintet numbers ever recorded, the Chattanooga Choo-Choo.
Is that the Chattanooga Choo-Choo?
Yes, yes, track 29.
Now could you give me the time?
Can you afford to board the Chattanooga Choo-Choo?
I've got my fare
And just a trifle to spare.
You leave the Pennsylvania station about 3:45. Read a magazine and then you're in Baltimore.
Dinner in the diner, nothing could be finer
Then to have your ham and eggs in Carolina.
When you hear the whistle blow and take to the bar, then you know that Tennessee is not very far.
Shovel all the coalin', gotta keep it rolling.
Woo, woo, Chattanooga, there you are.
There's gonna be a certain party at the station.
Satin and lace.
I used to call Funny Face. She's gonna cry until I tell her that I'll never roam. So Chattanooga choo-choo, won't you choo-choo me home?
Chattanooga, Chattanooga.
Get aboard,
Chattanooga, Chattanooga.
all aboard.
Chattanooga, Chattanooga. Chattanooga choo-choo.
Won't you choo-choo me home?
Chattanooga choo-choo.
In many ways, Glenn Miller was a dreamer, but he had the talent and the tenacity to make his dreams come true. He saw the need for Air Force bands that would play music young people in uniform wanted to hear, and he made it happen. He crisscrossed the nation to support Air Force recruiting and recorded victory discs for those he couldn't reach. He took the band to England, and before packed houses across the country, played tunes the world grew to love. Sadly, Glenn's talent and leadership were lost to us on the 11th of December in 1944 on a flight from England to France. But Glenn's music didn't die with him, and his legacy is very much alive today through the music of the United States Air Force Band program, his program, and through units like the Air Combat Command Heritage of America Band Jazz Ensemble, with Miller music guaranteed to put young and old alike in the mood.